Good
and welcome
morning.
to How Are You Today? Oh man. So yes, that's a question you have to ask yourself every morning you wake up. And we're asking you on the first episode of Finding Gratitude
Mm,
with Alicia Ali, who is the reason this show started. I'm not even gonna front. Like I saw her practices and her page, and I'm just like, I need to do better at finding gratitude.
mm,
So since I need to do it, and when I do something I like to show other people, here we are.
mm.
Here we are. So Alicia, um, where do we go from here?
So we'll just start with what gratitude means and why it's important to find it. It's gratefulness starts at the baseline for abundance, for any type of self compassion, for knowing where you want to go is starting from where you are and finding peace and understanding with where you are. And oftentimes we don't want to be where we are. We want to be somewhere else in order to be happy. We want to be somebody else in order for us to be happy. And the finding gratitude practice, when I discovered
Hmm.
that it's the baseline for finding self acceptance and then others to have self compassion for them, um, it was a huge revelation for me because I took it for granted how important gratitude was because yes we prayed and yes we had some sort of cultural practice to show blessings and to offer thanks, but I think that to have a regular practice of gratitude changed my life. It gave me more optimism and positive thinking, which is an act of self-compassion as well.
No, self compassion is something that a lot of people need to be more aware of. I mean,
Yeah.
like simple things like self deprecation is really one of the
Self-loathing, yes.
self loathing. Yes, and that's one of the things that are complicating people's lives without even realizing it.
Exactly.
The woe is me, how much is one that
Exactly.
can be damning. So, and I'm
Exactly.
not
So
saying, and that's
mhm.
not to go without saying, and I gotta make sure I say that. That's not to go without saying those feelings aren't legitimate. It's
Yes.
just to say, if we dwell on those feelings, they become damaging.
So the dwelling is that negative spiral. It is like this chain reaction of negative thinking to then suicidal ideation. And so what we try to counteract is that I acknowledge that thought. That thought is harmful. That thought is negative, but also that it's the contrast to I know what I want to feel. I know what where I want to be, which is happiness. I want to feel relief. I want to feel peace. So the contrast is important to understand that yeah, I know what sadness feels like, what depression feels like. And so I don't want to be there. That's the full acknowledgement of I accept that I'm here and I fully express and experience this emotion, but I don't want to stay here. That's
Hmm.
that deciding factor of finding your blessings, finding your gratitude to then
Hmm.
changing the narrative to be positive thinking. And it's not magical thinking. This is
Hmm.
really mental health practice. It's become
Yes.
so normal that we're like, oh, okay, let's say thanks. But no, really and truly, this is to for our survival. This is for opening up our imagination. This is opening up to um, the future.
There's a saying that goes, grief and gratitude cannot exist in the same plane.
Hmm,
I find that to be true. When I'm upset about something, it's hard for me to see what I should be thankful for. But when
exactly.
I'm thankful about something, boy, I am on my game. It's like I get the parking spot, I get the deal at the store. Someone looks at me and acknowledges
Exactly.
me. Yeah, you know what I mean. All of that fun stuff. How do we get to the point?
That's it.
How do we get to that point? So people like, you know what I mean. So how do we? Okay, I guess how do we recognize the ledge, and
Hmm.
what do we do to work our way back to a stable footing?
Oh, well, I think that this is the starting practice of stopping thought. Stopping thought is what meditation does. stopping all thought and kind of resetting. Because you, like you just said, if you're feeling grief, when you're feeling immense sadness, how the hell do you turn that around? You're stuck in that
Mm,
thought pattern. So you have to reset it with the meditation practice and then start new. So sometimes and often my meditation practice looks like I'm sleeping because I am lying down in a very restful, relaxed state. It, you can't, if whatever your body needs for nourishment at that time, whether it is a light sleep, whether it is a daydream, your body needs to reset in a relaxed state. And then
mm.
you'll start the positive affirmations after that, because the reset button has been pushed.
So, so when you're at the ledge, you got to just stop.
If you can take a nap, if you can take a bath, if you can change the environment that you're in. I know that may sound ridiculous, but it's the only way that like taking a walk, changing the environment, change what you're doing in
No, it
order
does.
to
It doesn't sound
relax the
ridiculous.
mind.
It
Okay.
doesn't sound ridiculous at all. It sounds obvious. I kicking myself
Mhm.
for not thinking of this before because I like because a lot of people consider me like a critical thinker. Like, oh, you didn't know that kind of thing. Like when I don't know something, it's a big surprise. Like I'm supposed to be some kind of almanac of sorts, and it's like I barely here. Can I be can I not have this expectation of me? But no, you're right. Like if something's not going the way you want it to and you can't change it, stop it
Yeah,
if
yeah,
possible.
exactly. If
Okay.
possible, yeah. If you could, and that's why people go out for smoke breaks. Like they really legitimately need to do something different. Um, Whether it's smoking that's enjoyable or just taking fresh air or getting out of that pressure pot, environment that they were in. Whatever it is, I find that smokers do this very frequently. They take breaks.
Mhm. Mhm. They do. They
Yeah,
really do.
yeah.
And that break sometimes like I used to be a smoker. That break did allow me to reset.
That.
And once I reset, I was able to go back into the same situation, even as stressful as it was, and have a different outcome because I reset.
Yes,
So
that's it.
so that's something I need to take heed with. That
No, but that is
um
that's exactly what you're doing. You're doing that without like really saying I'm doing a mindfulness meditation practice, but the, you need to change the mindset of where I am is not going the way that I want. And the more that I push this, the more it's not going to go into the direction that I want. I'm aggravating the situation. Let me just
mm,
let go. Let me just take a
yeah,
break for a second. Yeah, exactly.
like the swinging door.
Mm, I like
Like the
that
swing
analogy a lot.
I've used it a couple of times since we talked about it, and a few people have actually likened to it as well. I used it with as a Choom Gang. He's gonna be performing this Saturday at the Easter Extravaganza that we're hosting at Brownlee Avenue on April 16th. And we were just kind of politicking about whatever. I met him doing his thing, and I said, I have to say to him, I can usually just put my hand in whoever's universe, twist it, and shake it up. You have been one person I have not been able to like do that with. You have good control over what you're doing. Keep doing it because he's just a calm, tranquil individual. He's humble. He's not like I don't want to say soft spoken, but you know what I mean. He knows how to speak to people. So when I see those kinds of character traits, I'm like, yeah, you need to be uplifted. You need to be, you know what I mean? You need to be held to a higher regard because you're doing what needs to be done the way it should be done. You're not out there beating your chest like, oh, look at me. I'm king. I'm the king of the world. But you still acknowledge that you have talent and skill. So yeah, I'll hail you up for that every time.
Those support networks are critical to our growth, um, because I think people see what we don't see in ourselves. And we don't often see our character traits as being gold. You know, you see that when you interact with them and how they live their life. It is those choices that you make it, and it's based on your personality and how you want to create things. So when you
Mhm.
see that accumulation of choices in the direction that, oh, this person's going to just needs a little extra help, that's all they need because they already have the momentum
Yep.
of making those choices for the betterment of themselves and people around them. it,
Mm.
it's acknowledgement. It's really listing your accomplishments, like you're always saying to me, list your accomplishments, look, and not taking them for granted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that well, we'll do a little bit of that grounding and a little bit of that meditation that I was talking about. So we have our own mindset for the day, and
Yep.
introduce people to how easy this can be.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I'm going to
Yes.
sit, but are you standing?
Pardon? Yeah, we're coming close to the end. Yeah.
So I'm going to just say to center yourself and to ground yourself is very simple. It's just a simple visualization, calming the mind, letting the energy flow and ground down to your shoulders, through your torso, through the hips, down through the feet. Focus on the breath, inhaling and exhaling, finding that peace, that center. Abundance grows through you, around you. Abundance is in all the baby robins that are being born this spring. Abundance is in the clouds and in the ray of sun. Abundance is in our hair growth or in our fingernail growth or in the simple things that spring is here and the plants and the grass is growing. Abundance is all over if we just take the time to acknowledge it. Take the time to say thank you. Take the time to know that they support you in your change and your development and as we grow. Thank you.
Oh man. All right. All right. So you have been listening to or watching Finding Gratitude, episode 1, with giving you more tidbits of information as to how to find yourself and what you're looking for, and realize what you're looking for a lot of the times is already within you. You just have to tap into it. All right. That being said, have yourself a blessed day and make sure you try to do things in a positive way.
Thanks. Bye, David.
Right, Alicia?